Hello, and welcome to Maidens of the Spear, where we talk the Wheel of Time and we have a really
A
good time.
really good time.
And today we are talking about the big news everyone was excited about like 5 days ago, but no one cares about anymore.
Yeah,
The Matcham Coffin recasting for
that's right.
season two.
Mhm.
Um, a little bit of Donal Finn coming in hot.
Donal Finn. Do you mean Domer Flynn?
Do I mean Dahmer Flynn? Yeah, I do mean Dahmer Flynn. They got an Ashaman to play Matt for season two, which I think is actually cool.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. They dropped a big bomb on us. Barney Harris out.
Out.
Donal Flynn in.
In.
Why? We don't know yet.
Don't know. There's
Hopefully
plenty to
everything
speculate
is.
about, but we're not gonna do it.
We're not here to speculate. We're not here to shit on Barney or make up negative reasons.
No.
We will say we hope everything is okay with him. We hope
Yes.
everyone is healthy and safe. That he's doing all right. And we won't speculate further, but we do wish him the best.
Absolutely. It is my headcanon that he got another opportunity that was just so amazing that he couldn't pass up. And he had to leave the show. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it until proven otherwise. But I won't be because that sounds awesome.
Yeah. So first, I want to take a moment to appreciate what Barney did bring to the character because we liked it. So I'm going to play a little clip from the table read. This is the only bit we got to really see from him, but
You're not a fool.
Come on, do you really think she's any better than what's chasing us?
Of course I do.
Till then, though, the lady does shoot fireballs, so let's try and stay on her good side, eh?
It's true. Everyone's laughing.
He's funny.
He's funny.
Very cute. He's
funny.
charming.
He's charming. I like his voice.
Yeah. I remember seeing his picture, and a lot of people have said, wow, that's exactly who I pictured as Matt. For me, not at all.
Not at
I
all
saw
for
his
me
picture
either.
and was like, that is not who I pictured as Matt. And I don't get the vibe. But that was from pictures alone, right? And honestly, in his voice and his cadence and his posture, I got it. As soon as I saw that table read video, I was kind of really excited to see Barney. But hey, there's always the one that got away. And I'm really excited for season 1. I think he's going to do a great job.
Yeah. It's funny because I've listened to the audiobooks quite a lot now. So I always imagine these characters as having American accents because that's what Michael Kramer and Kate Rating do.
Yeah.
So the first time watching these clips and the trailer and just hearing all these British accents thrown around, I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be an adjustment.
It definitely feels a little weird.
But yeah, he doesn't look like Matt at all to me. I imagine Matt actually is very clean shaven most of the time.
I
That's
think
the thing.
canonically described as clean shaven almost all the time.
Yeah.
And there was actually, I remember reading a little bit about it. Why did you decide to have Matt have a beard? And they made the assertion that they were trying to make it very clear that this was not YA.
I see.
Since Rand is going to be clean shaven all the time, and they wanted to sort of, keep emphasizing that these are adults. These are not teenagers, right? They made that very clear. They're not 30-year-olds playing teenagers, not like Daenerys, supposed to be 14 when the show starts, right? These are adults. It's a change from the books. But
yeah.
Still weird. It was an adjustment.
It's an adjustment.
And honestly, okay. I think Barney looks better clean shaven.
I think he does
Just
too.
my opinion.
Just my opinion.
Love to objectify a man.
I think he should have started getting progressively more scraggly and bearded as the dagger took effect, but that's just me.
I also love, can I be a little shady? Just
Sure.
Really quick. I love how all of the teasers are starring Rosamund Pike as this star of the series, Moiraine, and then there are some other guys, but there's this magical woman, Rosamund Pike. It's so funny to me how she's a big star, right? She is the headliner, and also she's a producer. And so everything really emphasizes Moiraine, and she is, I mean, a huge part of the series. Huge. Please don't get me wrong. But I just love how everybody, if you didn't know anything, you would think the series was 100% about her. And as we know, it's very much not. That just cracks me up. I mean, it's smart business, but it makes me laugh.
Yeah, they seem to be trying to throw people off the scent of the Dragon Reborn half the time. Like the trailer, like makes no mention of Rand or a dragon or anything.
Barely emphasizes Joshua at all.
But then the other half of the time, they like play so fast and loose to it with it. Like, okay, like this is an interview with Rafe, and they're like, he's like very open about how important Rand is. And they're like, and Matt and Perrin are just sidekicks. Like Rand, he's this really important person, but and Matt and Perrin aren't sidekicks. So you're like, wait, what?
I don't understand when Rafe said that, because like whoever said that Matt and Perrin were sidekicks?
Yeah, they're not. They're main characters.
Who said that? Nobody said that. They're Taviran. Like nobody said they're sidekicks. So I don't really understand.
And then like sometimes people felt like they didn't really fall in love with those characters until the later books, and it's like, what are you talking about?
Who said that? I don't know anybody who said that.
A wild take, Rafe. Okay, but anyway, yeah, again, we hope everything's okay with Barty. We're excited for Donal, and I bet it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great, you guys. There were people on Twitter day of who were doom and glooming, like, oof, bad sign for the show. Shaking my head. Not gonna go well. Not looking good. That's a bad take, honey.
Yeah,
it could be fine. I mean, that was us too. Obviously, that was.
I mean, I was nervous. I mean,
and
people were like, they recast shows all the time, you know. Dario in Game of Thrones was recast, and so was The Mountain like 3 times.
Yeah,
and that is true, but it would be more like recasting Jon Snow. What I really hope they do not do, and I hate when this happens, and I honestly think it's a sign of like not professionalness, is if they do a meta check where it's like, Matt, you look different today. Oh yeah, I do. I don't know. Oh, weird. It's almost like you're a different person. Wink.
Yeah.
That shit does not fly in my book. I think that's so unprofessional and cheap. I don't like meta jokes.
It's cheap. It's bad. I hope they don't do that. I don't think they will.
I don't think they will. Honestly, I think this project is too high profile, and those kind of cheap meta jokes, I don't think it's going to fly, and I hope it doesn't, because I'll be pissed. I don't think that's funny.
I don't think it's funny. Okay. But on the topic of Matt, let's just keep it going just a little bit. Like, we don't have to spend a ton of time on him. We'll do a full Matt discussion. But what do you want to see in a Matt? What are you afraid Matt could become? And like, what do you like about Matt? Matt's like many people's favorite character.
Many people's favorite.
Top 3 character.
One of mine. I want to see a real sense of humor. Matt is one of the only like actually funny characters, sometimes not on purpose, right? But like, he is very good at telling jokes and being funny and entertaining a room, and it's part of his charm. So I want to see a real sense of humor, and I want them to treat that with respect, right? A lot of like drama series, comedy or a comedic element is, not important, but I think life is really funny, and people in real life are very funny, and Matt is one of those characters that's funny in real life, and so I want to see his sense of humor really put to the forefront as his character. What I'm afraid of is that he turns into a clown, right? I don't think he's a clown. He's not a jester. So I don't want him to be the butt of the joke. That's not what I mean by sense of humor and comedy. I don't want him to be some sort of like stooge, right? Which I don't think that'll happen, but I also don't want him to be like the snide winker. Which happens a lot. Ooh, I'm rambling. In dramas, when they want to do comedy, what they'll have instead is have something dramatic happen and then have the funny character snidely comment.
Yeah,
something
the
happens
Marvel, the MCU.
Yeah. Oh God, the Avengers style of comedy. Well, that happened. or
Yeah.
oh, someone didn't eat their Cheerios this morning, or something like that. I hate a snide comment after the fact to comment on what just happened, to tell the audience how to feel or to like lighten the mood, right? I want like a real character, real funny character. That's what I want.
I think Matt is really interesting, and he's a really difficult character. He's a really difficult character to get right, I think. Which is why I think Brandon Sanderson flopped completely on his first take at Matt in The Gathering Storm. I think he got it wrong, and I think part of what he got wrong is exactly that. It's like the way Matt's humor works. And it's interesting. I think I have a different take on Matt than you do. I don't see Matt as really a joker. I think Matt
I don't know if he's a joker, but he's funny.
I think Matt is funny, but like so much of what is really funny about Matt in Robert Jordan's books comes from his internal monologue. And like the hypocrisy of Matt is funny. The just like the way he thinks about the world is funny, but he doesn't actually make a ton of outward jokes.
Sure, but in a TV show, we are going to have to see that if we're going to understand that part of his character.
But I think that's one thing that like Brandon messed up on, is taking a lot of what was happening internally in Matt and the initial books and then making it external. Brandon's Matt was also too clowny and too goofy and was too often the butt of the joke. He got better at Matt as he went on, but it was like clearly the hardest character for him to adapt. And
something I'm also nervous for Matt, and we've talked about this before, is that he can be weird with women.
Oh, yeah, depending on how you read him. Like, there's like a difference, right? Like, it all depends on whether you think the women that he's like flirting with are like actively into it and encouraging it. Because
and
if he's
for the
like,
most part, I did read that as I read it as like he was only giving attention where it was wanted.
Yeah.
But still, like that's a huge part of his character, is that he's like a bit of a womanizer.
Yeah.
And like that's easy to make that really icky.
Oh, he could come across as a total skis ball. But I do think like I think in the books, the way I read them is what you said, like the women he flirts with want to be flirted with. They like are communicating to him that it's a game that they're playing together. You don't really see him pursue anyone that like is rebuffing him.
No.
Except for Tuon, kind of, but he's like, I'm literally like destined to marry you. So like he's
and also she's the one
who
tells him that, like, you just proposed marriage to me, so now we're attached. And he's like, oh boy, you know.
Yeah. Zool Danalu says that they read Matt not flirting where it is unwanted, and I
agree.
And I think they could really mess that up though.
And I think that's why I'm nervous.
That's part of what Brandon messed up. Like Brandon's Matt was always like leering at women and always like ogling women and saying like, oh, I'm just looking for Talmanes, or like a married man wouldn't look at this woman. But like Robert Jordan's Matt didn't really objectify women that much as Brandon's Matt did. It's like a total caricature. And I hope they don't lean into what Brandon's take was. Caitlin said, I hope the actor can do the smirks or the what the fuck face that Matt does. That made me laugh out loud quite often. Yeah. Like Matt's comedy, he's weirdly kind of a straight man. He's like a goofy straight man. But like, I think a lot of the great part of Matt's comedy is like, he's the only one who acknowledges the absurdity of a lot of what's happening to them. Everyone else is too focused on their duty and the fear and whatever. Yeah. Anyway, he's going to be hard.
Yeah, he's going to be hard. And like what you said, a lot of what is really funny and so lovable about him is his inner monologue. But like that is part of the difficulty, but also the responsibility of adaptation from book into screenplay, is that, you know, the number one rule with screenplay is show, don't tell. And that's the beauty of a novel, is you can tell us, you have to tell us exactly what's happening, and then we see it in the theater of the mind. That cannot happen in screenplay, and that's part of the artistry, is how then do you tell me that, you know, he actually is funny when we're not seeing his thoughts. And okay, Zool, you're getting to something that we would love to talk about. Matt is definitely bi, right?
I mean, in the books, like he's not, but there's no textual evidence that he's bi. I would love a bisexual Matt.
Spiritually though,
Oh,
like
yeah, he feels
it
bi.
makes so much sense.
Yeah, and I would love, like, I really want in later seasons that Matt Talmane's relationship to be very ambiguous. That's what I want. But this would be fun. I would love a bisexual Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah, Caitlin, Matt saving people and the girls being brats, and his face was like, cool, I just bloody saved you, but it's fine to be rude, Nynaeve.
I love that one. I love that scene. It's so funny how he literally saves them and they're like, Matt, what are you doing here? And he's like, guys.
Yeah, his refusal to be a hero is funny. His like total lack of self-awareness at times is funny.
Mm-hmm.
I think the scene where he like walks into Salidar and like Egwene's Amerlin, but he's just like, oh no, what have they done to you? I have to save you. Come on, we're getting out of here. And she's
love that.
That could be a very funny scene. Yeah. It's just he could so easily be a purely annoying, sleazy character.
Yes.
If they're not
I don't want him to be annoying and sleazy. Deep down, he's a good guy, you know? That's why we love him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's dumbfounded as to why they aren't saying a thank you. He's like, geez, I just literally was the first person in 3,000 years to infiltrate the Stone of Tyr, and the least you could say is thank you.
Love it.
Yeah. Great. So, but, you know, really not much more to say until we find out more about why Barney left, and we get the next trailer in like 5 days or a week or something, so we'll know more about how they're portraying that.
Exciting.